Hello and welcome to another week of Sambo iRacing. We're back in the Formula Vee for a track guide. This time it's week 5, season 3, 2024. We are at Winton, and with it being their winter, it's a bloody cold track, and that is great news for us because it means it's going to be a much faster track than last time. I think I improved on my delta by 8/10 when I was running these laps. So it's going to be a wonderfully fast week of racing. If you are new to my channel, thanks, welcome. What we do is we do a breakdown lap and then I go full speed from the chase cam. And I do want to ask, so if you guys can vote in the comments and I will put it in place for next time, on the third lap where it's full speed from the cockpit, do you want the driving line on or off? I will go with whatever the majority says. It makes no odds to me. It just... it's entirely up to you guys. I make the videos for you, not for my own personal enjoyment. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get in the cockpit and let's start the lap. Right, usual preamble just before we start. I loaded the test session direct from the V schedule, so it should be the same track conditions that we are racing this week. So nice cool 22 degrees. So we're over on the right-hand side, we're in 4th gear, and what we're looking for is just after the 50-meter marker, you can see there is a little access road on the right-hand side. That's going to be our braking marker, and we're not going to go hard on the brakes here. We're going to use our speed. We're going to go up to about 40%, and then we're going to trail that off, and we're going to get that nice little rear sliding as we go through the corner. I'm going to blip the throttle, as you can see here, and drop it into 3rd gear and get straight back on the throttle. So I'm at 100% throttle as I hit the curb. I'm being quite aggressive on the first 2 curbs this time round. I'm holding it in 3rd and at 100% throttle. I'm going to again be aggressive on this next curbing here. Let the car slide out. You can go over this rumble strip. You really don't want to be too far over to the left-hand side, though, because you will pop up like a bouncing top. Leave it in 3rd gear, rev it out, and what we're looking for is the 50-meter marker here on the left-hand side. Now, as we get to the 50-meter marker, we're going to brake up to about 60% very briefly and immediately start trailing it off all the way down as we start looking for the apex here. I'm still on the brakes, very slightly, and now I'm starting to build back up on the throttle. I'm coming off the brakes, I'm now at 0 on the brakes, and I'm going to be up at 100% throttle, nice and smooth, well ahead of the apex. It really is a nice corner when you get it smooth. For the next corner, no braking, just a lift. So we're going to be coming off the rumble strip here, aiming over to the right-hand side. We're still on 100% throttle, and we just do the lift now as we get over onto the asphalt. That's just to bring the rear around. And now we start building back up, and we're up at 100% throttle, nice and early. Exit wide, don't go too far off though. Up to 4th gear. Now the tricky corner, turn 5. So we're in 4th gear. Once we get to this point here, just before the marshal's hut, I do a little lift down to about 40%. I then give it a bit more throttle to get it through. And now when I want it to actually rotate so I can get around this corner, I lift it again. And now I'm 100% back on throttle as we look for the very tricky turn 7. So there's no real braking marker here. For me, it's just as we come into the entry to turn 7, just before I get over to the rumble strip, I give it a quick dab of brakes up to about 60% and immediately start trailing it off. And we're on the brakes for quite a long time here. So we're just really gentle on the brakes. We're trailing them off. We drop it down to 3rd gear. We start building back up on the throttle. So as you can see here, just before the apex, I'm back on 100% throttle. You will exit wide on the left. That's fine. Try and get back over to the right-hand side. And once we're middle of the road here, I'm going to start coming back off the throttle. I'm going to give it a little dab of brakes, only briefly up to about 40%. And now I'm just feeling for the grip in 3rd gear, just modulating between sort of 80% and 50%, as you could see. And now I'm fully back on the throttle because I know I've made it through the corner. Back over to the left-hand side. And again, there's no real braking markers. It's that sort of track, but you can see where the marshal's hood is just before it sort of leaves our view. We're going to jump on the brakes again, very briefly up to about 40%, and we're going to trail it off incredibly slowly. So if you look, I'm still on the brakes all this time, just trying to get the weight over the front tires by leaving a little bit of brakes on. I drop it down to 2nd at this stage. Now, if you don't manual clutch or you don't have a button clutch or dual clutch or anything like that, you can leave it in 3rd, but it is going to be slower. About 2/10 on this corner because of how slow you end up going through it. So I'm in second gear, giving it full beams, up to third gear on the exit. I'm going to leave it in third gear here as we approach turn 10, and we're looking for just after the 50-meter marker is going to be my braking marker. So just as I go past that, I'm going to brake up to about 80%. Again, in a straight line, trailing it off down to the apex. I've started putting a little bit of throttle on there. Don't know why I did that. And now I'm going back up to 100% throttle just as I'm getting to the apex. Oh, I was at 97 and then I chicken out a bit. And now I'm back on 100% throttle. Exit wide. That's absolutely fine. No off track for where I was there. Back over onto the left-hand side, up to fourth gear. And then again, it's the 50-meter marker. Just after the 50-meter marker, we're going to do our final big bit of braking. Again, up to about 80%, getting all that pace wiped off in a straight line. And now we're going to slowly trail down to the apex. I'm going to give it a big blip as I change down to third gear, just to make sure that the wheels are turning fast enough. And the final brake is just halfway along this rumble strip here. So as we get there, we're just going to dab the brakes very briefly, only up to about 20%. I'm in third gear. I'm holding a bit of maintenance throttle and making sure that as I get to the apex, although I didn't miss the apex by about a foot there, I'm back on 100% throttle. Exit nice and wide, keep the speed, and over and across the line in a 33.054. So I think this week some people might nip into the old 32s, but that's going to be a very competitive time. We'll now go full speed from the chase cam. Right, over on the right hand side, looking for the little entrance road after the 50 meters. Quick dab on the brakes, let it slide, drop it to 30, nice and aggressive on the corners. Don't wash out too much. So Coulson. 50-meter marker, little dab of the brakes, back on the gas, nice slide around the corner. And again, we're just doing a big lift here, back on. Over to the right-hand side, up to fourth gear, little lift, back up, big lift again. Now we're coming to the trickiest corner, from fourth down to third. Little dab of brakes on the left-hander here. Feel for the grip, back on. Now this one, really long trail brake as you can see there on the telemetry. Over to the right-hand side, leave it in third, look for the 50-meter marker. Hard brake, trail it off, back on the throttle. Over to the left, looking for that 50-meter marker again, and we brake hard, trail it off down to third at the apex. Little dab of brakes here, and get back on. I do love it when the races aren't at midday, and so we have this nice light, golden hour. One final lap from the cockpit. So as I say, if you want the driving line on or off, if you can let me know in the comments, and I will go with whatever the majority says from this point forward. As always, you guys, thanks for the support. Thanks for watching. I've been Sambo iRacing. I'll see you guys in the week.